going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for another OPTC video, and in today's video we're doing the final installment of the GARP Challenge 10-star event against the worst generation. And in today's video we're really going to be highlighting and focusing on the meta captains to get this event done, or the meta units to help you guys complete this particular GARP challenge. Now, if you guys are new to the game, you don't know what I'm talking about, head over to Event Islands, click on the Challenge tab, head over to GARP Challenges, and the last one on the list is called the Worst Generation. Now, when this particular event came out, it was deemed to be the hardest of the GARP challenges. Nowadays, I don't believe it to be so, as we have a lot of characters that can get around stuff like Blow Away. We have characters that can remove damage, limiters, and stuff like that. And initially, this content did seem a little bit challenging because it brought in a lot of these other effects. Bringing a character that can remove damage limiter allows you to use characters that can bypass stuff like HP cuts, big damage with their specials, Doflamingo, V1 Mihawk, all those characters become viable. And nowadays, compared to what it was, there's a lot of characters that can burn and get you through these abilities. It was very, very annoying though at the time because there is a captain swap on your middle row and a blow away on your bottom row for the final stage. Initially, this is very challenging to get around, but as long as you just bring a very strong unit in the middle right-hand corner, apologies for smacking my mic, in the middle right-hand corner, you'll be able to abuse the close app bug, and that way you'll always have a very good captain to swap into. Now, in these teams, I have included a lot of free-to-play units, a lot of accessible units. Hopefully it'll help you guys out, and I've kept no supports to build the teams nice and easy. But if you enjoyed the video, belt the like button, hit the subscribe button, do all that good stuff. If you guys want to check out the other installments, I'll leave a link to the playlist in the description below. Make sure to go check that out. With that said, let's dive into the Worst Generation GARP Challenge. Alright, so we're going to start it off with the Strength rendition, and just like the rest of these GARP challenges, we're going to be utilizing Kaido as a friend captain. Rush Kaido makes this so damn easy. Now, to get around the damage limiter, as you guys can see on the right hand side there, I sort of just put some buffs there, the ones that you want to get around. Blow Away is another really big one. And your bottom row characters, if you can bring characters that have a Sailor ability that is immune to Blow Away, it's going to make it very, very easy. As you can see, I put the lead performers in the middle right-hand spot. That is going to allow us to abuse that captain swap mechanic, and that way we can always guarantee whatever unit is in the middle right to become our captain. That is like the big upside here. The only other thing you really need to get around besides damage limiter is threshold. There are some very annoying mechanics with stuff like super lock. Recovery turns into damage, like as you guys can see here, and this is what made this content so finicky at the time. It brought out a whole bunch of new mechanics that, one, we hadn't really seen before, and two, that we basically just didn't really have too many options to deal with. So that being a thing, and then as it is now, it's just completely different sort of meta that we live in. But as you can see, we do use the what's it called? The not Sweet Generals, the Lead Performers special there. The Lead Performers are basically just going to give us an attack boost. They give us a Super Tandem 2, and it makes it very easy to kill whilst saving an orb on Kaido. Now, using the Lead Performers is pretty much a key to this team as well, because you start with a full board of Wano slots, and that allows you to tap with Kaido to get a burn mechanic off against your Rogue on stage 3, I believe. I think it's stage 3. Maybe stage 4. On stage 4, your Rogue has a damage limiter for 500,000, 1 million, 1.5, and then caps out at 2 million, which is just enough to kill him. However, once he hits the 2 million mark, he's actually going to apply a normal attacks only for 99 turns. If you use a burn mechanic that is over 100 times the character's attack, you can actually get around this, and your Rogue will just basically melt, which is super interesting. That way you don't have to worry about the 99 turns of normal attacks only, and you can still abuse Kaido's end of turn damage. Now, if you had to use the EX on that previous turn, go for gold, like it's not a problem. We are using Straw Hat Crew as our captain. They are one of the most desired new player captains. They're coming up on 2 years old though, which is kind of crazy. But the fact that they make every special work under them, and they're just a very, very good unit, means that you can easily build out a team that sort of just caters toward Kaido. Kaido buffs strength, so he works quite nicely. On to Blackbeard. This is where we get our first rendition of another very annoying debuff, which is a super lock. You can actually abuse this though. If you use a orb manipulation on the Rogue stage to then lock your orbs on the Zoro and Killer stage, you can actually keep a full board of orbs moving into this stage. All you need to do, though, with Kaido as your captain, is just make sure Kaido has a 1 orb. And it doesn't matter how you guys do it, just make sure Kaido has a 1 orb, and you are going to be absolutely fine for this final stage. Kaido, every time he taps through the Wano slot, will apply a burn mechanic that goes through defensive effects. On the final stage, you don't have to worry about killing here on the first turn, because the Straw Hat Crew is going to give you 2 turns of all of the buffs that you need. As you guys saw there, we got the captain swap into lead performance. It's always going to be the middle row, but if you quickly close the app, if you don't have that middle right unit, then you're going to be fine. Alternatively, just replace Orochi with another very, very good strength leader, and then it doesn't really matter who actually gets swapped into captain, and you're going to be hunky-dory there. Remember, you are going to get blowaway on your bottom 2 rows, so Big Mom and Morley, they have the Sailor ability that is immune to blowaway. It works quite nicely, so you don't have to worry about that very, very annoying piece of shenaniganry. And then you can use the Straw Hat Crew to just basically allow you guys to get enough damage to kill here. Now, the damage here is actually pretty tight. You just want to make sure you have an Orochi, you have the lead performers, whether you're using like Jack, Queen, King, those types of units, they're all going to work. And even if your Strike Crew isn't level 5 and doesn't do something like that, you will be okay on that second turn, provided you actually don't use the rush. Moving on to decks now, and this one is a little bit finicky because it does require a very, very good free-to-play 5+ unit that is Blackbeard. The Blackbeard from the Kazuna shop is an absolute weapon for the Dex team and getting the Dex Chopper Man mission done for the worst generation. And the reason that is he's a driven fighter, so he works really, really well under CatDog or any fighter team or any regular Dex team as well. We are using the combination of CatDog here. It just makes it very, very fast getting through this content with the 2 of them. But it is only possible if you have this free-to-play Blackbeard. Blackbeard's special allows you to remove 1 turn of every debuff that the enemy has. And that includes damage limiter. And the reason you want to get around that is because you don't want to take too many turns of stall with your CatDog combination. You need to kill everything in 1 turn, and that's going to make it nice and easy moving into the final stage. If you need to here as well, you could easily use the Whitebeard special there just to sort of clear, or you could even use one of the super types, or the super class of Dogstorm and Cat Viper to just board wipe there as well. That's another really, really good option. You do want to bring a ship that can make it easy hit perfects, because this stage can be a little bit finicky. CatDog don't want to lose HP. You don't want to be below 50% of your HP, so you don't want to miss any of your perfects here. We are using the Jack special, so that way we can actually get recovery orbs as beneficial. We're then going to use the super type of Cat Viper just to get some damage, and then we're going to use Whitebeard. Now, Whitebeard's just here as my strong leader unit. You don't really need him per se. As you can see, you do a lot of damage when you do hit with the recovery orbs, but I just want it to be really, really safe and not tap perfects with the bomb orbs, so that way I didn't have to worry about taking the bomb damage. Utilizing Blackbeard on this Rogue stage is just so good for Dex teams. He completely removes that damage limiter. You get a conditional against defense down. He sets defense to 0. He gives you base stats. You have the chain lock from Jack already, and it just works out really, really nicely. Jack and Kamazo both are immune to blowaway. That is why they are on our bottom row, whilst Whitebeard is our ideal captain, and he's the one that we're going to want to get swapped into, so that works out quite nicely. On to Killer and Zora. Now they put up the threshold, and they have a barrier. You need to be in your Sulong forms and above 50% HP for this team to work. So, like I said, the only struggle it has is that one stage where if you just, miss a couple perfects, you take some bomb damage or you take some recovery damage, that's going to be a problem. But Cat Viper, they make every orb show up very frequently. As you can see, when we move into the Super Lock stage against Blackbeard, we don't have to worry about it. It just works quite nicely. And then we can just basically just start using all of our specials again, and we're going to be in a really good spot. Kamazo is actually an orb booster, so that's why I like to use Cat Viper here to boost orbs, and then he gives me an attack boost on the final stage. Jack's going to be ready to go again because he has the Sailor ability that gives himself cooldowns, and it all works out super hunky-dory. Remember, if you don't get swapped to your middle right, quickly close out right now. Right in that moment, and then when you go back in, it's guaranteed to be your middle right every single time. Upside to using Whitebeard on the team too is you get access to his super class for strikers. Because we have a Blackbeard, a Cat Viper, Dogstorm on the team, all of those units, we can actually just get a little bit more damage output. Now, Whitebeard also does end of turn damage, and another reason I wanted to bring him is because when you get around that damage limiter, you don't have to worry about the normal attacks only. So at the final stage here, you might just be short of killing, no matter what units you hit. You're then gonna have that end of turn damage from Whitebeard, which is gonna be very, very nice to actually help you guys out with just finishing off the stage. So we have a conditional boost, thanks to Blackbeard getting Blackbeard back. We have attacks, we have orbs, we have a chain lock, and honestly, the damage here is just, it's so much. So Cat Viper Dogstorm getting it done very, very nicely. Next we have Quick, and this one's very interesting because Quick's it needs a lot of help, if I'm honest, when it comes to this kind of stuff. But Akainu definitely reigns supreme when it comes to running this type of content. And as your friend captain, you can pretty much bring anyone that's a driven powerhouse, if I'm completely honest. You can use King. I decided to go with Sugar, one of the newest 6+s and level limit breaks, mainly because Sugar has an ability where she turns everyone into bears. Plus, she can give a multi-stage attack boost and a multi-stage orb boost. And you guys will see why that's beneficial in the final stage. But for now, it just works out quite nicely. The downside is she only buffs units with the cost of 40 or below. So this whole team's not actually getting like a super buff unless they're in their bear form. We are going to use all of the quick orbs. You want to maximize how many quick orbs you get with the Akainu. And ideally, you want to actually have 12 orbs ready to go by that your rogue stage. Now, your rogue stage, as I mentioned, is a very easy to get past, provided you have some sort of burn mechanic or a way to remove the damage limiter. Now, nowadays, there's a lot of characters that can remove damage limiter or just remove any turns of the enemy's effects. However, burn and poison were always the best ways of getting around it before we had access to some of these crazy mechanics. And Akainu was the king of doing that, and honestly, for Quick, he pretty much still is. We do have Zoro who can double the damage limiter, but look, even with that, and then losing all your HP as a captain and doing all that shenaniganry, it's just not ideal when it comes to running a mono Quick team, and that being not the final stage. So we're going to keep it with Akainu here. We're going to use the Sobamar special to get around those nasty recovery orbs and stuff like that. You can use a Bellamy special there too. I would actually recommend it. That way you just get an orb buff, and it's just going to make it super easy to do that and get through that stage. Against you Rogue, we're going to use the versatility of Akainu. That's going to apply the burn mechanic. It gives us 4 turns of burn, and then we can basically just tap through the damage limiter that your Rogue has. He starts at 500,000, he moves up to 1 million, and then he gets 1.5 million, and then ends at 2 million. And all of these teams that you see today, including this one, will bypass this in some way, so that way you get access. Well, you can basically just do damage. Now, this team doesn't need the damage that much. If you run something like maybe, I don't know, King or Super Tandem Kaido, Super Type Kaido, and do damage with those types of units, that could be an option for you. But I just wanted to showcase how good Akainu was at just sort of bypassing this sort of stuff. Plus, his versatility comes in super handy moving into the back end of the fight as well, because now that we move into stage 5, we actually can try and keep a bunch of quick orbs. Now, Akainu makes quick orbs more favorable or turn up more often, so we're just basically going to rely on that moving into the stage against Blackbeard. On the Killer and Zoro stage, you actually can't rotate orbs, so you don't want to rotate orbs on this stage at all, otherwise they have a massive interrupt, which is a huge problem. Normally, I would say use the Sobamar special there, but because of this, it's not ideal. We're going to use the Sea Monster to remove the Threshold. We have a Chain Boost with Donjin Jiao. Donjin Jiao is actually immune to Blow Away. Big reason why he's there. Every time you take damage as well, you are going to apply that burn mechanic, which just helps you get through some of these stages like that. You don't have to worry about Zoro doing too much damage, and then you can just easily kill. Now, on the Blackbeard stage, we got a really, really, really bad orb roll. Kind of meant to help you out there, but he does damage moving into this stage, so you apply that burn mechanic right off the bat. You get the carryover of the orb buff, you get the carryover of the chain boost, and with this, you can actually use Sobamask here as well to actually just guarantee a attack boost. As I mentioned, use Bellamy earlier. You're not going to be able to use Bellamy on the final stage because he's going to get blown away. But nevertheless, you should be able to, as long as you get like a orb here, you should be okay with tapping at the back end, and then that burn sort of just finishing off Blackbeard. On to the final stage against the worst generation. This is where we're actually going to utilize our Sugar. Now, if you guys don't get the Captain Swap, once again, make sure to close the app really, really fast. I believe this is the first time we don't get it. But as you guys will see, when you don't get that Captain Swap, if you quickly close the app now and come back, it's always going to swap to the middle right-hand spot, which means no matter who you put there, it's always going to be your captain. And for us this time, it's going to be Sobamask. Sobamask actually has a jump ability as well, which I don't think I actually used in this video. But you can actually utilize the jump, and then that way you can do a little bit more damage. But I don't know if that actually affects Sugar. Now, utilizing Sugar, It means you can turn units into bears as long as they're a cost of 40 or below. She's going to give them an attack boost, which she makes bears that cost. Once you get a toy bear on the team, you get access to her super type, which gives you 3 turns of an orb boost to the 40 cost or below. Now, I didn't do a Kainu because without a Kainu, I actually can get access to his versatility on the next turn. Now, once you tap with Sugar, the bears just start going to town. They go through barriers, they go through all those effects, and as you can see, we just take out Luffy in the back there. Now, we take a lot of damage here, which is a little bit of a problem, but at the same time, it's not because we have a lot of HP. Utilizing the special of a Kainu, so the versatility of Kainu gives us a conditional now, and we have type advantage against Kid, so we should be able to kill Kid, even with a really bad orb roll, and then literally just one-tap Law, thanks to the massive chain boost that the bears actually give. Alright, on to Sai now, and this is where things get fun, because Sai has access to the Gear 5 Dream Team. The two of them together work absolutely exceptionally well. They are super, super powerful, and you can actually bring Kuma, who is a very, very interesting unit. Now, the two of them work so damn well, because they get around so many different debuffs, like Bind, Despair, damage reduction effects. You have a Revive mechanic if you really want to as well, but you can also cheese it with a particular character called Kuma. Now, Kuma has an ability where he can just blow away the enemy. He's immune to blow away himself, and he does very, very well. Now, this particular strat is a very interesting one because it does rely on a lot of RNG. You don't have to run this. You can just run any other unit that is immune to blow away. Something like Sai Yamato in the bottom spot there works really, really well. Versus Whitebeard, the Super Tandem Sai unit, he is also another very, very good unit that you guys can use. It's just immune to blow away. But with this team, like, you do so well that, like, it doesn't matter who swaps into your captain. I've got Zoro there, I've got Brook there. Both of them are pretty piss poor captains, but just the power of the Gear 5 combination just makes it so much easier. Brook can just wave clear on stage 2. You can then use him again on stage 3 to get you extra damage. And you're making recovery orbs beneficial by using the Super EX of Gear 5, and that way you can actually kill quite nicely there. You could also use Katakuri is another really, really good option. The 6-star Katakuri or 6+ Katakuri, because every time you take damage from these recovery orbs and the damage that Gear 5 does to himself, will start banking up for Katakuri, and then you can just get around the tap timing on the final stage. Gear 5 special in Gear 5 form allows you to remove 1 turn of every buff the enemy has, just like that Blackbeard special, which completely removes the damage limiter, and you don't have to even worry about it at all. You easily kill your rogue and move on to the next stage against Zoro and Killer. They have Threshold, they have a barrier. It doesn't matter though, because we go through defensive effects. And Gear 5 6-star, he's so good for this particular fight. You take 10,000 end of turn damage moving into this stage. You can use the Gear 5 Super EX. That's going to give you a full board of orbs, going to lock them. It doesn't trigger that interrupt as well, which is really, really nice. And then that way you can just kill very easy thanks to the 2 times additional damage and the conditional boost that Frankie gave us from that previous stage moving in. Moving on to Blackbeard, we have type advantage here. It's so easy to kill with the Zoro special. Zoro's going to give us a massive orb boost. We have a full board of matching orbs. It's 3 turns, so you can carry it into the final stage, and then you just use the friend captain to give yourself an attack boost. Utilizing Kuma's double special is a lot of fun though, and it's something that you don't have to do. Like I said, you can just put Zoro where Kuma is, and then just have like any other really good unit in the middle right that can swap into your captain, or use a unit that's just immune to blow away. I think Brook becomes my captain in this video, and he only buffs free spirit units, if I remember correctly, or free spirit slasher units. So not everyone's getting like a crazy buff, but because we got around the damage limiter and the normal attacks only doesn't exist, we may as well actually abuse it. So we're going to use Kuma special. I believe Kuma blows away Kid here. Yeah, so he just instantly kills Kid, which is awesome. And then the second shot completely misses both of them. But that's okay, because I figured, hey, we got Brook special back. We got a 1.5 additional damage. We've got our Gear 5 special. And let's just see how much damage we can actually do just by doing our normal taps. Now, unfortunately, we don't have enough HP for the rush. Otherwise, like the Gear 5 would go to the moon. But as you can see, like, it doesn't really matter. Like, the damage is just kind of nuts for having such a piss weak captain. But that's Sai. Sai does what Sai does. It's the best color in the game, and that's the reason why. Moving on to Int now, and this is where it gets a little bit unorthodox, but it gets a lot of bit fun. So, we are using the combination of Verse Whitebeard, the old school Verse Whitebeard, as well as 6+ Blackbeard. Now, 6+ Blackbeard is the key to making this team work, as well as V1 Mihawk. V1 Mihawk is actually so good for this fight. Whether you have him 6+, whether you don't have him 6+, honestly, really shouldn't matter all that much if I'm completely honest, but his 6+ level limit break allows him to do more damage, but if you just have him 6-star, try out this team, see how it goes. You can tweak it a little bit, you can bring like chain lockers, and you can bring like extra damage and stuff like that. But Blackbeard, when you use his special, gives himself like a 3.25 and then a 3.5 times attack boost, depending on how many times you use his special. When he gives himself a certain amount of attack stat, he gets access to his super type, which allows him to completely remove 1 turn of every enemy's buff, which is super nice, because that way we can get around the damage limiter. On stage 2, though, you don't want to take any special reverse, just be mindful of that. Blackbeard's going to hit one of these units, that way Krooby can actually kill just by normal attacks, and then Blackbeard's going to hit very hard. You should be able to kill 5 of them on turn 1. Mihawk has a 6-turn attack timing, and you should be able to kill at least 5. I'm using Kid for his end of turn damage, but you don't have to use Kid. You can just like stall there, stall back for Blackbeard's special. All of that's going to work, because remember, you only have to beat this content 1 time. Like, doing it fast is great, but like it's not essential to do so. On the stage 3 with Bonnie, Apu, and Capone, use the Whitebeard special here. That's just going to allow you to easily kill. Getting an attack boost, getting a base stat boost is really nice. And that way you can just sort of tear your way through to stage 3 against your Rogue. Now, against your Rogue, and as you saw, we are taking damage here, because every time Blackbeard takes damage, he gives himself cooldowns, which is just absolutely crazy. So, against your Rogue, we're going to use the Blackbeard super type to remove the threshold of damage, and then we can use the Blackbeard special once again, so that way we're now at that 3rd threshold. He goes down to an 8-turn cooldown, or 9-turn cooldown, 8 or 9? I don't know, it's something like a 9-turn cooldown. Yeah, 9 turns with his level limit break and his 6+. And because of that, you can get his back his special very quickly. Now, as you see, I'm actually eating recovery orbs, because recovery orbs do damage, and the damage actually converts straight in to Blackbeard's cooldowns, which works very nicely. Like, just works like so damn well. So make sure you guys are doing that, so that way you can then get access to that ability that he has in his captain. On to Zora and Killer. We are going to use the Kobe Helmeppo special here. That's going to allow us to remove the threshold. And then I believe I keep Zoro alive. I wanted to keep Zoro alive just so I could take some damage. And that way I get 3 turns of cooldown for Blackbeard. And that just allows me to... Oh, sorry, 2 turns. That allows me to be ready to go on the next stage. This team actually has a lot of damage output. And as you can see, if you get Zoro low enough, you can easily kill him on the 2nd turn. It's no biggie. I use the versatility of Whitebeard as well there to sort of just tank a whole bunch of damage. So just be mindful you do have access to that too. Now this is where it gets fun. Against Blackbeard himself, he gives you an orb lock, and you really want to make sure that you keep a int orb on your friend Captain Blackbeard when you hit this stage. That way you get the attack boost, that way you get the orb boost, and now it gets really fun. We can basically get him to a point where we just sort of tap with all of our units, bring him down as low as we possibly can, and then we can use our Blackbeard's tap to hit very hard, hitting over 2 million damage, I believe that was. And once you do that, you can then reflect a whole bunch of damage back with the special of Mihawk, allowing you to basically just kill on this stage no matter who your captain swap goes into and no matter what actually happens. Because the Mihawk special will reflect, I believe, 60% of the damage, or maybe it's higher now with his 6+, I can't really remember. And it does enough to actually take down this entire stage, which is incredibly hilarious if I'm completely honest. So, if you guys want to have some fun with it, use stuff like Kuma, use stuff like V2 Doflamingo, use stuff like Mihawk. It's always a lot of fun. There's a whole bunch of content up on the channel as well, taking down this challenge with a bunch of cheese teams as well, so make sure to go check them out. But if you enjoyed the video, make sure to belt like button, hit the subscribe button, do all that good stuff. Most importantly, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one.